Hi, I'm following along with Paul McWhorter's new Raspberry Pi Pico W lessons. This is basically the Hello World, getting us set up and with IDE and just getting the onboard LED to blink. So wasn't too hard to 6 lines of codes or something like that. But our homework was to see how good our eyes were and see how low we could go to get it watching, getting the before we couldn't tell a blink. And I I here's my code, and I could get to 0.02 before I could get it. I tried 0.018 and I couldn't really tell the difference. So 0.02 is about where I'm at on that. In my 60 plus year old eyes, that's all I can see. So, anyhow, that's all he had for us. And, I was playing ahead on this, so this was just a redo of what I've already done with it, but looking forward to more lessons with that and everything. But I was watched the premiere of it, and BBF said somebody ought to do a Larson scanner. So in Arduino, that was one of my fun things to do with the students that I taught, was to set up a bunch of LEDs and teach them how loops work by getting it a Larson scanner to do it. I didn't feel like wiring up a bunch of individual leads on this thing, and our Kepler kit actually has a set of 8 NeoPixel strip, and I hadn't played with that on the Pico, so I dug that out, and I said, well, let's do the Larson scanner with NeoPixels. I love NeoPixels. I guess I said that twice now, but anyhow, basically you have to bring in the machine so you can get the pin. There's a little NeoPixel library that you've got to get in, and then we need time to do that. You pick the pin that you want to use for the NeoPixels, and then you tell it how many NeoPixels you have. And then the way I found the easiest way to do it is to have a direction pin and then a pixel number so that you can do that. And then we go into a while true. Well, you want to turn them all off first. Way NeoPixels work, you're setting all the pixels, and then on Arduino, it's pixels.show or whatever you named it, pixels.show. And in here, when you want to actually send the data out to the pixels, it's pixels.write. So that's a little different from Arduino, but otherwise it works. But whatever you do while you're in your loop here, and none of the changes take effect until you do the write. So we're moving the pixels back and forth over the length of the pixels. So we come in, like I said, we fill the pixels with nothing, so they're all black to start with, and then we move our lit pixel by adding adding direction to it, and direction happens to be 1 right now, and we're setting that pixel at 150. 255 is just too bright for it, and then we're setting the one behind it to just 5, real dim. That's the way the Larson scanner works. You got one bright pixel, and then the one in front and the one in back are dim. I had put an if statement in here, make sure it wasn't below 0, and then the one in front of it, we just said pixels, and then we did that. And then we check to see if the pixel number is 0 or 7. That means it's either at the bottom of our range of pixels or at the top of our range of pixels. because pixel numbers start at 0 and number of pixels -1. So there's 8 pixels on that strip. And so that's what they got there. And then what we do is if it's at either end, we multiply the direction by a -1. So if it's a 1, it becomes a -1, but a -1 times a -1 becomes a +1. So all we're doing is changing the direction. So once we get to the top, then we're going to come over and we're going to start subtracting the pixel numbers off of that. That's how we get it to work. So if you notice, I got an if statement here to make sure we don't go over our pixels. Somebody leave a comment. Why don't I have an if statement to make sure we don't go over the number 7 of pixels? A little trick that I found, and wasn't my idea, but found along the way. So tell me in the comments why I don't need an if statement on the high end of the range. Anyhow, so it's not very good. I got my only camera I got that can show the pixels moving or on. I'm using my Raspberry Pi cam from the other lessons Paul's teaching. So I got it running here, and you can see. Let me turn off the light. Maybe that'll help a little bit. You can see it almost looks like there's 4 pixels, but you're actually only lighting up 3. It's just 14 frames a second. You're not getting that many pixels out anyhow. So I figured BBF gave me the challenge, and I wanted to try out NeoPixels on the W anyhow. So the NeoPixels are 5-volt, but most of the time the NeoPixels will work with a 3.3-volt logic because you're only sending logic to the pins. You're not doing them out. So I have ground, the USB, the VCC for the board, and a signal pin. Anyhow, that's my homework for this time. Thanks for watching. Look forward to more lessons from Paul. Thanks, Paul, for all you do.